Welcome to Delta Green, God's Teeth, brought to you by Black Project Gaming. Get read in at blackprojectgaming.com. I'm Vince, your host and handler for this campaign. Joining me are Cami as FBI Special Agent Sarah Hart, Doug as Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent Gerrald Bear Swenson, Jack as Special Agent Adrian Selivanov with the FBI's Computer Analysis Response Team, and Sonia as Dr. Leah Caron with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. God's Teeth is a campaign of unthinkable horrors, written by Caleb Stokes for Delta Green, the role-playing game. For more information on Delta Green, please visit delta-green.com. Music in these episodes is brought to you by Cryo Chamber and Epidemic Sound. This podcast contains depictions of and allusions to violence against both children and animals, as well as unnatural horror, graphic violence, and adult language. As a result, it is intended solely for mature audiences. Listener discretion is strongly advised. So, in our last session, Bear, you had just had your encounter with the motorcycle rider clad in yellow. Scared and angry, you returned to the trailer after repressing an acute episode of your intermittent explosive disorder. You confronted Adrian almost immediately for sending you out to check on the animals, and you pretty much flat out accused him of knowing that the rider would be out there. And at that point, you recounted to the rest of the group what that experience had been, what you had heard, what you had witnessed. Sarah, you attempted to de-escalate. Bear, you went and cleaned yourself up, and at that point told the group about your grisly discovery of the trailer park's pets out in the swamp. At Adrian's suggestion, Sarah, you collected a sample of blood residue that was left behind on Bear's collar from the bloody-tongued lick he received. The team departed shortly thereafter, and you all bedded down for the night at a hotel in La Belle, Florida. Adrian, you used some of your skills to look into the Yellow Rider's speech that Bear had recited to you, suspecting it may be from pop culture or a book or something else that Bear conceived of. You didn't receive any hits in English, but with your occult skill, you identified that the portion that had been in potentially another language was possibly Middle Egyptian. And at that point, you made a connection. Knowing that Bear saw two cats circling around this Yellow Rider, you searched for anything in Egyptian mythology involving cats or deities that could control animals. And that's when you stumbled across reports of a deity known as Bast, a hunter, a predator, a defender who hungered as much for the blood of men as she did for monstrosities like Apophis, this formless monstrosity of absolute evil and unnatural chaos. With this discovery fresh in your mind, you immediately told Sarah what you found, and you two discussed what this might mean not only for Bear, but for the rest of the group. Bear, you took the opportunity to drown your sorrows a little bit at a nearby bar. You called your son, unsuccessfully attempted to get him to talk to Cheryl, your soon-to-be ex-wife, on your behalf. Later that evening, Nika Chelikov emailed you, Sarah, with files from King Torino Children's Refuge on El Gable, Jennifer Wills, and Conrad Hopko. Jennifer Wills' file connected her to St. Laurence Church in Miami, and Conrad's file had a note with the same FBI file number as the one that had been discovered by Velasquez. Sarah, you texted the file number to Pizzarelli, while you and Adrian looked into Jennifer, but unfortunately didn't find much. Adrian, you did send Jennifer's mugshot to Pizzarelli to run through facial recognition, as he did with the three quiet children who were caught on video murdering Carrie Hoden. The next morning, everyone reconvened in Sarah's room. Adrian, you told Bear and the others about what you discovered regarding Bast, and you all had a very in-depth discussion about Bast's nature and what it means for you all. Once you digested this new information a bit, you went to the Hendry County Sheriff's Office and met with Sheriff Deacon Benson, who agreed to provide all the documentation from Crystal Killian's case as long as the feds assumed jurisdiction over the death investigation. While waiting for Sheriff Benson to retrieve those files, Sarah and Adrian, you looked up the former Deputy Casey Eckstein, who was the first responder on scene at Crystal Killian's trailer. Everyone, you all reviewed the autopsy report and the crime scene photos. One thing you noticed was a journal in Crystal's office that was open to a single page with all of your names on it, and that journal had not been logged into evidence. You briefly discussed how to approach Eckstein in an attempt to get your hands on the journal and find out what he knows. Leah and Adrian, you decided to drive 2 hours north to Tampa to drop off the blood sample from Bear's encounter with the Yellow Rider, while Bear and Sarah, you are currently staking out Casey Eckstein's residence. And that's where we left off. Leah and Adrian, you two are on your way back from Tampa by this point. Bear and Sarah, you are still outside Casey Eckstein's duplex. You have confirmed that he is inside. You can see his vehicle in the driveway, and at one point he came out to drop off his garbage in a trash can on the side of his residence. But that's where we're at. Adrian and Sarah, you've got about a 4-hour car ride there and back. So two to Tampa, 2 back. Do you all discuss anything during your drives?
I think Adrian's pretty quiet unless provoked into conversation by Dr. Caron, but there might be some like small talk here and there, but I think in light of everything, I think that if anything, maybe Dr. Caron notices that Adrian's maybe a little anxious. Like if he's driving, he's going faster than the speed limit maybe than it allows, or, I think he's just sort of like in a bit of a rush and kind of tense and keeping to himself and quiet. And also it probably doesn't help that he's been chugging, energy drinks, so he's a little fidgety as well.
Dr. Caron isn't really going to poke the bear. She does note that he's more anxious than possibly usual. It's kind of hard to differentiate from his baseline anxiety versus like his energy drink induced anxiety. Can I roll like a human?
Yeah, sure thing. Oof. With a 71 out of 50. Unfortunately, it is hard to differentiate between normal Adrian and amped up Adrian. Yeah.
Unfortunately, she's also comfortable in silence, even though she does kind of nervously. She tries not to backseat drive since she's obviously not the driver, but she just kind of gently tries to remind Adrian to follow the speed limit, or at least slow the hell down. I don't want to be in another accident. It's already giving me heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, Adrian will nod at acknowledgement and not actually follow through.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Bear and Sarah, during your stakeout surveillance of Eckstein's duplex, do you all discuss anything in particular? It's a lot of waiting around, sitting around.
I don't think so.
Not this time. I think Bear is kind of brooding. You can see, Bear's obviously, thinking about recent events and going over them in the mind. You can tell that there's a little bit of him feeling a little bit of remorse over his outburst and accusing Adrian, but he probably wouldn't bring it up at this point.
Yeah, I think she's reading that and doesn't want to, start a conversation about that when they're supposed to be paying attention to something. But, she will at some point just kind of look over and ask, well, should we just go knock on the door?
Oh, shit. I don't know. What were we hoping to find anyway? Like some green alien walked up to his front door?
I don't know, really. Just saying if anything unusual seemed to be going on, but he's probably inside. If I were him, I'd be inside going over all my notes, and I'd like to see those notes if he has them.
May as well ask him, right? It sounds like he's hooked up into this. He almost sounds like he's obsessed with it. He probably wants to talk about it.
Yeah, and I got, they're not taking him seriously down at the sheriff's office, so if we take him seriously, he might talk to us.
Especially if we play up the federal agent angle.
Yeah, I could even offer him a job or something. Yeah, I think that could work. She unbuckles her seatbelt. You ready?
All right, let's go.
Yeah, head to the door. And I will knock.
You knock on the door, and a few moments later, He answers it. Looks exactly like what you found online with his various social media profiles. 25 years old, blonde, tall, burly. Looks very much like the former high school linebacker and Marine reservist that he is. Bulk is still mostly muscle. And he looks to you two and says, good afternoon. How can I help you?
Yeah, hi. Mr. Eckstein, right? Deputy Eckstein, is it?
Yeah, former deputy, yeah, but yeah, Casey Eckstein.
Yeah, and I'll flash him my badge.
His eyes widen ever so slightly.
My name is Ellie Adams. This here is my partner, Frank Jameson, and we are just in town tying up some loose ends on that Crystal Killian case, and we heard that you might be the guy to talk to about it.
Oh, so somebody finally decided to take me seriously, huh?
Well, we do.
About time we had some adults in the room, you know what I mean?
I do.
You have to forgive the sheriff's son. Sometimes they can have a limited imagination.
Yeah, goddamn right. Hey, you both, you're with the Bureau?
We are.
All right, give me just a sec. And he leaves the door cracked, but he walks off into the house. And you can hear, with your alertness skills, you can hear something scratching on paper, like he's writing. And when he returns to the door, he holds out his hand and he says, well, as pleasant as it is to meet you both, I'm afraid I can't really talk right now, but maybe sometime soon we can have a conversation and get to the bottom of things. But thanks for stopping by. And he holds out his hand again, and with your alertness scores, you can see he's got something kind of concealed in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, I'll shake his hand and slip it from him. Of course, I totally understand. We'll be in town for a few days. I'm sure we can find some time to chat.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Maybe stop by tomorrow afternoon, say 3, and we'll talk.
So she's guessing that like either he assumes or he is being like listened to. But is there any like fear in him? Like where we should not leave? Or is this just like he's trying to get us out because he thinks he's being listened to or something like that?
With your human score, no fear, no signs of fear. He doesn't appear to be sweating. He's not stumbling over his words. There's nothing indicating that he thinks he's in any kind of danger.
Okay, yeah. I think she'll just go with that, kind of give Bear a look and be like, yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right, y'all have a good day now.
You too.
And he'll shut the door. When you do look at the paper that Casey Eckstein slipped you, it is an address with the words Rub and Dub, 12 a.m.
Jesus. All right, well, I'll show it to Bear on the way back. Looks like we have a date.
I'll go ahead and look up Rub and Dub just on the map.
Yeah, you pull it up and the Google results that you get show that it is closed permanently. And it is, by all appearances, very much abandoned, but it's not far from where you all are staying.
All right, I think this kid is taking some of this stuff a little bit too seriously.
Hey, with what I've seen, I wouldn't, put too much past it. We'll see.
Yep, all right.
Well, with the rest of the day ahead of you, and at least a couple hours before Adrian and Leah get back, do you all decide to do anything with your remaining time?
We're on the western coast of Florida, right?
Correct.
It would be a day trip to go to Miami and back. Miami was where the shelter is, right?
Correct. Yeah. So you're in the Fort Myers area in Charlotte County. So to get from Fort Myers to Miami, it's about a 2.5 hour drive.
But it'd be a reasonable thing to do today.
Yeah, you absolutely could.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The only real outstanding leads you have left, having made your way down the East Coast, are tracking down Thomas Perez, looking into the St. Laurence Church, and then recovering whatever Casey Eckstein took from Crystal Killian's trailer, what you suspect he took.
Right.
Well, if you all like, we can pick up with everyone reuniting once again at your hotel.
Yeah, works for me.
Sure.
So what do we do? You've got time to kill until about midnight.
Yeah, Beryl will relay to everybody that it sounds like this guy wants to meet up later tonight. A little bit of a dramatic place, but in the meantime, we could go to Miami.
What time is it right now?
I would say probably mid-afternoon, maybe 2-3 o'clock.
Yeah. So, the shelter's the big thing.
And I will say, since it hasn't come up, you do have photos of all of the subjects that you've been pursuing: El Gable, Samuel Ball, Thomas Perez, and now, thanks to Nika Chelikov, you have one of Jennifer Wills as well. So you've got all of those.
Well, if we have the time, we can try Miami. Hit up the shelters, see if they've got anything for us. Are you worried, though, that given the way things keep going, that we might get off track down there, waylaid?
Well, I think if we do, we just go back tomorrow and set up another meeting.
Sarah, since you're the seasoned, experienced Delta Green agent in the group, having been in the game a bit longer, go ahead and make either a criminology roll or an int ×5 roll, whichever is higher.
That would be my intelligence. 28 out of 80.
You know that while you have no reason to believe Casey Eckstein is a threat, nevertheless, being summoned out to this abandoned car wash late at night in the middle of rural Florida, it might be good to get eyes on it ahead of the meeting.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. We should actually probably head to this location and scope it out first. Make sure there aren't any surprises.
You think there'd be surprises? Not that I don't think there wouldn't be surprises, but did this guy seem kind of sketchy, or?
I mean, maybe not him, but everything else that's been happening, who knows? If there's anything that we can plan for, I'd rather do it now than on our toes at midnight.
Fair enough.
This is Florida after all, son.
You think we might get attacked by some wild Florida men?
Crazier things have happened.
And also, considering our track record so far, while we may not have gotten violent, things sure have gotten really freaking strange when it comes to talking to anyone related to this. Because he was the one who discovered Crystal Killian when she was dead. I think he might also be affected by... I didn't see him, obviously, but I think there could be a chance he's still affected by it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did we see any, animal scratches on him when we met him?
No animal scratches.
Okay, but he was, obviously it could be hidden, but okay.
Sure. Yeah, nothing immediately visible. Nothing, he was wearing a short sleeve polo shirt, nothing on his arms, his hands, nothing on his neck or face.
Okay.
So we head over to the car wash?
Yeah. I'm good with that.
Yeah, do we want to set up a couple people watching the place and a couple people maybe checking the businesses or buildings around?
I don't think that's a bad idea, actually. Maybe just have, at this midnight meeting, maybe it is just the two of you meeting up with this deputy, and Dr. Caron and I can hang back just to make sure that if anything goes awry or if anything comes up, that we're at least on the, able to get to it.
I was going to say, if we had a good gun, like a hunting rifle, we could even set up Overwatch. But
you want to see if you can get one?
It's Florida.
It is Florida.
Well, so you can either try to get it legitimately, or if you want to make a criminology roll, you can see if you can find some connections down south to pick up something a little less legitimate.
That might be good in case we have to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a 74 with criminology. Does anyone have higher?
Probably. Nope.
No, I've only have a 30.
Success.
Yes, 36 out of 74. You know enough people still in the Bureau. You can make some phone calls, fly relatively below the radar, check local arrest reports, and you identify local individuals who have been either arrested before or investigated before for violating any number of federal firearms laws. And we don't have to play it out, but with the time remaining to you, because this is going to take a couple of hours, you're able to identify an individual and get their contact information, get their address, and essentially set up an illicit firearms purchase relatively quickly. Do you identify yourself as federal law enforcement?
I think that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So, private citizen looking to purchase some firearms on the down low. Yeah, you're obviously going to use your personal funds for this. First, what do you want?
I would say a simple hunting rifle. Maybe with we're not going to be setting up 200 yards away. We're going to be setting up on the building next door, probably. So I would say a simple medium caliber hunting rifle with a low powered scope.
You've got a plug. Is there anything else you want?
Sorry, a plug?
A hookup.
Oh, okay.
I think, let's see, I still have a medium pistol, and would we still have the shotguns?
I'll say yeah.
Okay. I think I'm good then.
Yeah, no, I think just the rifle for now.
Cool. Yep.
Sarah, since you're the one kind of leading the charge on this with your connections and what you've been able to find, this is going to be a unusual expense, which you don't need to make a roll, but one of your non-Delta Green bonds will drop by 1.
Okay.
Who do you take it from?
I think her contact with her that she does consulting with, I think that relationship is just, she hasn't been in touch, so chipping away.
You're able to procure a hunting rifle for your purposes. If you have access to the handbook, it's going to be a heavy rifle, but you're able to get that. You're a few $1,000s cheaper now, but you're able to get your hands on it. While Sarah is pursuing this illicit firearms purchase, do the rest of you go over to the car wash to check it out?
I'm just going to see if there's any like history on this particular, not just maybe the car wash, but maybe the area of town, see if there's anything noteworthy or if there's any maybe connection to Eckstein or the law enforcement in general that might be concerning.
Nothing that you're able to find. There's no criminal activity in or around the car wash. It's been closed for maybe about 5 years or so. It's a drive-through car wash, or it was at one point in time when it was operational. But other gas stations and convenience stores kind of popped up around it. It's just off the interstate, so it mainly consists of like rest areas, nicer, more quote-unquote modern, gas stations and convenience stops. So it very quickly went out of business, but it's still standing. Nobody's bought the property yet, but nothing involving any kind of criminal activity or any connections to local law enforcement there.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Then do we want to decide who's going to be, as we're on our way there, do we want to decide who's going to be hanging back and who's going to be doing the talking with Eckstein?
Since he already met me, I feel like at least I or Bear should be present, and I'm probably a little bit better at talking, so I'm happy to go in with him.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind manning the rifle.
Yeah, go for it.
Then, Dr. Caron, do you want to go with Sarah to talk to Eckstein, or do you want me to because I'm federal?
Yeah, I can stay back with Bear, and you can go with Sarah.
Probably about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, Sarah, as you all are waiting to get to the car wash to meet with Eckstein, you do get a call from Pizzarelli.
Yeah, I'll answer it.
Hey, how's things going?
Good. We're about to meet with a deputy who I think stole some evidence, so we can wrap that up.
No shit.
Yep.
Okay. Any reason to think this is going to get hot?
I think he wants to work with us. We're prepared for anything. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet, but he might be good to recruit. But I will let you know after this is done what I think.
Okay. Well, I hope you don't mind, but I took the liberty of securing some insurance in case things go south.
What kind of insurance? Before I mind or not.
Well, his stepmom and his biological dad don't live too far away from there. As soon as we've learned of his role in all of this, we buried a barrel on his family's property. Inside is a illegally modified M249 light machine gun, a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun, and a kilo of cocaine.
Jesus, you don't fuck around, do you?
It's the nuclear option, but if you need it.
All right. Good to know. Did you get anything on the facial recognition?
Yeah, last she was in the system was, I think you and Adrian had found it. She got picked up at St. Laurence Church for some kind of disorderly conduct charge or something, but yeah, she's definitely down there.
Okay. We have a couple leads we can try to track her down with.
Yeah, we got a hit on Perez, too.
Oh shit, where?
Miami.
That was going to be our next trip. Okay.
It was, we got a hit on the family SUV. It was abandoned.
Any weirdly murdered bodies show up?
Nothing that fits our MO here, but it was dusted for prints and his were definitely inside.
Okay.
All right, well, good luck with Eckstein. That big red button is there should you need it, and if not, if you all decide you need a shotgun, a machine gun, and some cocaine, go nuts.
Hey, when this is over, it's Florida. We'll celebrate.
Probably in spite of himself, he laughs a little bit. I'm glad you can still laugh about this.
Hey, you gotta, right? And she sounds tired, I think. Like, he knows her and has worked with her long enough that he can probably tell she sounds tired, that she's cracking jokes that she might not normally if she'd gotten a good night's sleep.
Well, good luck with Eckstein, and when this is all said and done, you need to get some sleep.
I hear ya. All right, I'll let you know how it goes.
All right, good luck. I'll hang up.
Yeah, I'll relay everything to everyone else.
So, Bear, with you trying to set up near this abandoned car wash, the closest buildings are maybe a couple miles away, not terribly far, but probably a little bit further than what you were looking for. This being rural Florida, there's enough swampland and trees and various natural points of concealment nearby that you could easily set up in and conceal yourself. The main issue is getting a good vantage point on the inside of the car wash itself. It's one of those drive-through deals where there's a pay station on the outside, you swipe your card, the door opens, you drive in, park, get your car washed, and drive back out. So it's essentially enclosed on 3 sides with just the doors going in and out on the others. So the doors are open, but finding a good vantage point is slightly difficult, but there are places to set up.
So in terms of the street around it, are there other cars parked anywhere on the street around it?
No, it is very rural.
It is very rural. Okay. Yeah, I think then Bear would probably try to spend the afternoon building a blind in the brush so that he could have a good vantage point on as best he can. If I could get something where I don't have to get in a tree, that would probably be better, just because, too many things could go wrong.
Absolutely. I would say it's easy enough. You're not going to have a full, complete, unobstructed view of the interior, which with your experience, you have a feeling that's where the meeting is going to go down. It's not going to be on the outside. It's going to be on the inside because it offers so much visual coverage. But You're able to find a decent enough spot in the brush itself, still on the ground. I don't know how happy Dr. Caron is going to be, since it's very muddy, very overgrown, but you can set up.
All right. Yeah, I think Bear will do that. And maybe since it's so muddy, if we have time, just buy a tarp and spread it out and then cover it with brush and weeds and things to conceal it.
Yeah, you can probably even find a local military surplus and find one that's in that old woodland camouflage pattern. Or even go to a sporting goods store, get one that's used by hunters that isn't bright blue or bright orange or anything like that. So concealing it is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So with that, we've got Bear set up in his blind. Dr. Caron, you're with him. And midnight quickly approaches. Sarah and Adrian, do you wait for him to pull up, or are you already waiting inside the car wash?
I would have wanted at least to go in and scope it out first.
Yeah.
Whether we come back out and then wait for him, maybe. But yeah, I want to go in and check it out first.
And I want to make sure too that probably Bear, because he's got history with this sort of thing, I'm sure, but like he's scoping out the entrances and making sure that like he lets us know when Eckstein's on his way or if he sees anything coming in.
Along those lines, maybe we need a couple of the walkies.
Yeah.
We could probably just get 4 and send them to the same channel.
Or at the very least, someone could have their phone running on a phone call while they're in there.
Yeah.
Which would you rather do?
Maybe it's the phone.
Just because the walkie-talkies are ubiquitous.
Yeah, and then like that way you can just hear everything and we don't need to be like pushing a button or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And I'm sure Adrian, being as young as he is, you probably have a Bluetooth like earpiece.
I think he would even scoff at the idea of walkie-talkies at first because they're so sort of antiquated, in his opinion.
Yeah, so you pair the Bluetooth to your phone. You have the call left open with Bear. There's pretty much only one road running past this car wash, so you're easily able to see traffic as it enters the road, leaves the road. So you've got a clear line of sight. Sarah and Adrian, you scope out the inside of the car wash, and it is very much abandoned. All the equipment has been stripped out from the inside, the scrubbers and soap dispensers and all of that. It's essentially little more than a concrete box with some steel rigging still in place. But apart from that, empty, nothing that catches either of your attention that stands out to you as being indicative of danger or particularly concerning leading up to your meeting with Eckstein.
As we wait, I'll look at Sarah and just go, so what are we hoping to find from this guy again?
Well, hopefully he has that journal and he'll hand it over. Can't let that just be out in the world. But other than that, maybe he's gotten some insight on this that we haven't caught yet. I'm curious to see, as he's wrapping himself up in it, how much he is affected.
Yeah, well, I don't know. After looking him up, I just worry this guy just really wants to be a hero. Is it someone that we want to make a friendly, or?
Possibly. I think we can try to use that to our advantage. I mean, if he seems unstable, there are other methods of taking care of him. But for now, I think we should approach this as if he wants to work with us.
Fine, then I'll follow your lead.
Yeah, I think just wait.
A few minutes before midnight, Bear, you see the very same pickup truck you saw parked in Eckstein's driveway begin driving down the road and begin making its way towards the car wash.
If the connection's not already made, Bear will call up, I guess, Adrian and say, looks like he's on our way, our buddy Eckstein.
He's on his way, Sarah.
All right.
Sarah and Adrian, you are eventually illuminated by the headlights of this pickup truck as it rounds the corner, pulls into the car wash property, and pulls to a stop just outside where the doors once stood. He opens the driver's door, steps out. Truck's still running, lights still on, casting this bright incandescent light over the interior of the car wash. Hands appear to be empty. He appears to be alone. And he steps forward to greet you two. Agent Adams, where's your other partner?
Oh, he had some other paperwork to do, but this is my colleague, Agent Johnson.
How do you do?
You Bureau 2?
Yeah. He'll see that he's wearing his windbreaker.
He nods. Yeah. Well, I'm Eckstein. I'm sure Agent Adams told you that. But like you said, you were looking into this Killian mess, right?
Yeah, we understand you were the first one on the scene.
Yeah, until that fucking piece of shit Benson tried to shut everything down.
Yeah, that's what we heard. There a reason you wanted to talk out here?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm a little, I guess gun shy is the word about Sheriff Benson and the rest of the department. I don't know if they're looking to take out any kind of retribution or anything on me just for speaking truth to power, that kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Got it.
But I wasn't followed. Nobody followed me here. I'm clean.
Yeah? Well, I mean, the biggest thing I wanted to ask you, and I'll take out some of the evidence that I have and show him a picture that has the journal in it. There's one thing that we couldn't find accounted for in the evidence. You happen to know about this?
Yeah, I took it.
Have it on you now?
I brought it with me. Figured you might be interested. It's in the truck.
I would love to take a look.
Can I do humans on him?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm getting KG vibes on him.
Yeah, go ahead and roll.
I only have a 20, but we'll see what happens.
6 out of 20. He's being honest. He doesn't appear to be showing any signs of deception that you can pick up on.
All right. I'll relax. If you don't mind my asking, why did you feel the need to take it?
Well, Benson was downplaying this whole thing from the start. You know, natural causes, animals feeding on the body, that kind of shit. He wasn't taking it seriously, and if he wasn't gonna, I was. So yeah, I took that shit. I mean, why would he care? It wasn't a murder. It wasn't like anybody was gonna look into this any further. Open and shut.
Find anything interesting in it?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now, I think that, this Crystal Killian, if that's even a real name, I have no reason to believe that it is. Her background is way too thin. She was murdered. No doubt about it. I mean, somebody kicked in that door. Grown-ass man kicked it right off the hinges. And those animals came in and pretty much ate her to death.
Makes you think it was a grown-ass man.
Boot print size.
All right, fair.
I mean, as quick as, they kicked in the door, animals came into their business, they left. My suspicion is that these animals are trained. It had to have been.
Got some type of psychotic Snow White on our hands?
Probably, maybe, yeah, to some extent. But, that journal. So this Killian, she was connected to this FBI agent, Gary Hall, disappeared in 2001. Something about, there was this Russian cult operating in Maryland in 2001. It was an offshoot of something she called the Scopsy. I had to look them up on the Wikipedia, but it was fucked up shit. Self-mutilation, mutilating the sexual organs, that kind of thing. But Killian investigated it even after this Hall guy disappeared. There was no real details in there, but she mentioned this thing called the Group that infiltrated the cult. This thing called C-Cell got destroyed. I have no idea what either of those were, but you want my opinion? This Crystal Killian, she was tracking this conspiracy, I guess you could call it, of federal agents that were pursuing devil worshippers. Stay with me. I know this is crazy, but that just leads to all sorts of questions. Is there this deep state conspiracy, like everyone says, it's trying to discredit and persecute Republicans and patriots by launching these false flag operations? Or Is this a conspiracy of patriots invading that very same deep state for the good of real Americans like you and me?
Some interesting theories.
Yeah, I was hoping you guys had answers, to be honest with you.
Well, let me take a look at that journal. I'll see if anything pops out.
Yeah. I'll go grab it from the truck. He heads over, opens the passenger side door of the truck, begins rooting around, and comes out with that journal in a evidence bag, then hands it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, she'll start flipping through it.
Do we want to have gloves on, or is it okay for us just to handle it with raw hands?
I mean, in Sarah's mind, she's not giving it back because it's potentially got agency secrets, so I don't think she's worried about it.
Then I think Adrian will sort of like start to pull out a pair of rubber gloves, but then sees you just sort of start to flip through it, and he'll just tuck them back into his pocket.
So it is going to take you some time to work through this. From what you can see with the light that you have, it is a faux leather journal, like a mass market model that you could buy from a Borders or Barnes & Noble. It's about 300 pages, maybe about 150 is taken up by writing. So it's going to take you a minute. But the thing you do know is that the cover and the pages are torn from a variety of what looks to be animal teeth and claws. And there does appear to be clotted blood on some of the pages and on the covers itself.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'm not really rolling to get information, but since I am, this is something that I'm assuming is written by Clove, and I can, when she says like C-cell and like all this stuff, this is stuff I recognize, so I can probably make a little bit more sense of it than Eckstein could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, looking for clues here, but then also looking for like, oh shit, this needs to be burned immediately before some other civilian reads it kind of stuff, which I'm assuming yes.
So it's going to take you probably a good 20, 30 minutes to even parse through and identify some of that stuff.
I mean, I guess, yeah, I'll just start going through it.
I will say, in the time that you've got, you definitely see mentions of C-cell. You see mentions of Clyde and Cerise. You see mentions of something called the Magna Mater. You see mentions of the group.
Any mention on D-cell?
Nothing on D-cell. But you do see the page with your names.
I point them out to Eckstein. You do any follow-up on these names?
Yeah, barely. I wasn't able to find much on any of them. I mean, all I had was last names and nothing else.
All right. We'll look into it, see if we find anything. You make copies of this? Can I have it?
No, I did not make copies. No, ma'am.
Okay.
I mean, this has got to be connected to all that shit going on up north, right?
I mean, that is what led us down here, if you want a level. So, there's something. Not quite sure what, but there's something.
You guys chasing them pedophiles?
She kind of gives like a non-committal, like, kind of like, I can't really talk about it, but I'm not saying no.
It's classified, as you can probably understand.
Yeah, as far up as this shit probably goes, I get it. You got to protect you and yours, I get it.
Question: does Magnum Otter ring any bells?
Well, are you looking over Sarah's shoulder while she does this?
Yeah, I think he's sort of, not like directly over her shoulder, but I think he's standing next to her, sort of glancing down at the pages. If anything, he might have his phone out with the flashlight, just in case it's dark in here.
You don't know Latin, do you?
I don't, but if it's nothing that I've immediately heard of, I would go on my phone and see if I could just look up the translation.
Yeah, nothing that strikes a chord or nothing you find immediately recognizable, but a quick Google search shows that Magna Mater in Latin is Great Mother.
Oh, okay. When the two of them are talking, he's looking it up and doing the Google Translate, and when he sees that it means Great Mother, he sort of shudders at the idea of it, knowing that this whole thing has ties to that Baba Yaga creature and to possibly to Bast. Kind of sinks a lump in his throat. Was there anything else attached to that page?
Nothing immediately visible.
Okay.
The main thing you find, though, is that Great Mother is commonly associated to the Anatolian goddess Cybele,
Okay,
which was a deity of fertility, motherhood, and nature.
got it. But she's not come up. She's not come up in any of our research so far, right?
It has not.
Okay. Yeah, so I think he's still kind of ascribing it to the other two figures that we know of.
I mean, look, I don't want to be a pain in the ass or anything, but I mean, if you guys, if you need help, I want to run this aground just as bad as you do.
Yeah, this might take me some time to go through, if you don't mind me taking it with me, but we'll be in touch. If you want to meet back up, we can compare notes, see what we've got.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. I think your instincts were right. I wouldn't tell anyone about this. We don't know who's covering up what, you know?
Goddamn right. I wouldn't be surprised if that fuck Benson was involved in it.
Hey, we'll look into it.
All right. Well, shit, you know how to get a hold of me. If I need to call you guys, is there you got a number?
Can I give him just my burner number, or would I need to give him a separate burner number?
Up to you.
Yeah, I'll just give him a burner number.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you for this. Yeah, I mean, let me know if I can be of service. That sheriff's gig was just a stepping stone. You know, I'm capable of a lot more, and I hope you guys can see that.
I actually have one more question. You kind of mentioned offhandedly that you think this might be related to some maybe Satanist cult magic bullshit. How serious of an angle is that for you?
About as serious as it gets. I mean, everybody knows that the Democrats have been infiltrated by Satanists from day one, looking to undermine the good Christian values of this country that this country was founded upon. And it only stands to reason that they take the next step. I mean, you've heard of Bohemian Grove, right?
I sure have.
You know what? I think just to be sort of a, because I think Adrian would know about Bohemian Grove in those sort of like weird internet circles, but I think he's wanting to poke the bear a bit. So I think he's going to go, no, I've never heard of that.
Oh, Bohemian Grove, man. So it's out there in California, right? It's a private club where all these big wigs like the Rockefellers, they all go out there every year. They meet, they make their world plans, and they sacrifice fucking kids. They got a big statue of an owl, some shit out there. They worship Moloch, right? It's the devil. And they sacrifice kids to this thing.
Pretty heavy.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, well, we'll see what we can find. Use the connections we know are clean. Maybe dig up some more info. And we'll let you know. We might need your help down here.
Well, you say the word, and I'll come running. We gotta put these guys in the fucking ground.
Absolutely. I reach out my hand to shake his.
And he shakes it.
Yeah, give him a nice firm handshake and then tell him we'll be in touch.
All right, you guys wait here. I'll take off. I'll make sure nobody followed me. Give you a few minutes.
Good plan.
All right, good luck.
You too.
Heads back to his truck, reverses out, and takes off down the road. And Bear, you watch him make his progress. He doesn't double back or anything. He just keeps on going until he's out of view. Same direction he came in.
I look at Adrian, see what he's thinking.
Bohemian Grove, huh?
Oh yeah, whole thing.
Bear, I'll go talk to Bear and Dr. Caron. Is he out of here yet?
Yeah, looks like he's driven far enough away.
All right. Maybe we come back down here and we can talk about some of this shit that we found. And I'll look to Sarah and say, but there's something in there that I think, I don't know, might be something, might be nothing. But when they get down here, we'll talk about it.
All right, yeah, probably something. Yeah, I'll just find a spot where we can get, whether our phones or flashlights or whatever we have, a little bit of light, open up the book, and I guess we'll all wait for them to come down and we can all go through it.
It is going to take hours.
I guess we can go back to the hotel.
The group reconvenes at the hotel, and do we go right into digging into the journal?
Let's do this.
Yeah, I think so.
So are we like passing it around? How are we doing this? Like is there a primary reader? Like one person reads it in its entirety, hands it off. How are we like, because it's going to take probably 3 or 4 hours. So it's going to be an all-nighter to read this whole thing.
I'm sort of partial to the idea of maybe like we're all in Sarah's room and just maybe have it open on the bed or something like that. You know, we're all just sort of seated around it. I can have my laptop open in case we need to cross-reference anything else. But yeah, I think maybe that's just the best bet.
Yeah, we all kind of go through it at the same time together.
Yeah.
So everyone in that case, add 5% to your occult, 1% to unnatural, and lose 1 sanity.
Yeah, that tracks.
So as previously mentioned, the faux leather journal is about 300 pages total, but only about half contains writing. The cover and the pages have been torn from the animal attacks. Most of the pages are clotted with blood that pooled around it where it lay on the floor, which makes parsing through it pretty difficult. Ink has run or been overwritten by bloody grime. But Killian's notes trace her investigations into the forces that destroyed her life in her time with Delta Green from 1996 to 2001, which is the year she fled the United States with her family and ended up in China. The first thing you come across is Killian's mention of C-Cell. She worked with an FBI agent and an intelligence officer operating under the pseudonyms Clyde and Cerise. From what you can tell specifically, Sarah, with your experience with Delta Green, especially in those days, it's clear that Clove was advising them as a friendly at first, and then she was recruited as a full-blown agent in 2000. She writes that Clyde and Cerise died in a shootout and fire at a taxi garage. Clyde handed her a folder of evidence that he had found and told her to run, and she writes about that folder like it is a source of the most traumatic horrors imaginable, without giving any specific details. It is clear why Delta Green once found her a useful asset. Once she was freed from the constraints of her family life, she made remarkable progress in multiple lines of inquiry using pure academic research. If her journal is any indication, her work and psychological stability deteriorated steadily over the years. The vast majority of the still legible material regards the history of the American offshoot of the Skopje, based on what Killian remembered of the investigation before she fled. She discovered anthropological records that speak to the cult's original purge from Russia and immigration to the United States, settling in Los Angeles in the early 20th century and decades later in Maryland. She even made some remarkably accurate suppositions as to the nature of their worship of something called the Magna Mater, which was presented to the public as a version of the Virgin Mary, but worshipped secretly with horrific and bloody rituals as a pagan goddess of eternal life. Killian linked ownership of something called the Basilica of Our Virgin Mother in Maryland, which was at a community called Moscow on the Chesapeake, which you, Leah, would remember. She was able to link that to the cult, to this offshoot of the Skopje. Another line of inquiry regards the fate of survivors of Delta Green. This section is largely written as interviews with code-named subjects. Each coded entry appears to be notes hastily scratched after interviews with other operatives of what she calls the group that she managed to track down. And though she never mentions interviewees by name, she did take first-hand accounts of a conflict between a government-sanctioned organization referred to as Majestic 12 and this group. In 2001, the conflict between these two groups reached a boiling point. And it is that conflict that essentially led to the radio silence she experienced when trying to get a hold of other members of the group, of Delta Green. But from these interviews, it appears that none of them experienced the total loss of fellow agents that caused her to flee originally. The interviewees do warn of a new official group entirely suborned by the enemy and urge Killian to stay in the shadows. She muses that the silence of the leaders of the group may have been a coincidence that unfortunately intersected with a disaster during the Scopsy investigation, but the thought of both misfortunes falling on her at the same time appears to be too much for her to have entertained for long. She did make one slip in her notes. She includes enough scattered details about Clyde to piece together that he was an FBI agent who vanished in 2001. But in a single hasty, exhausted scrawl, she refers to him as Hall specifically, which is enough to connect Clyde to Gary Hall, who Leah and Bear you had previously worked with when you were still friendlies for Delta Green. The final investigative thrust of the notes appears to concern the whereabouts of the children from Cornucopia House. Because she was cut off from access to federal documents and databases, it appears she made the least progress on this front. She wasn't sure if the children were alive or if her final order to Sarah had been followed, and this uncertainty caused her a great deal of distress. She never knew the names of the kids housed at Cornucopia House in the first place, and the sealed juvenile records made finding more information impossible. The most she managed to maintain was an up-to-date record of information available about the friendlies that she sent down to destroy Cornucopia House, hoping that if the need arose, keeping track of them would lead her to the whereabouts of the kids. In her last few entries, she notes seeing a number of strange symbols or icons sprayed like graffiti. She makes a sketch of a red brain that she saw on trash at her trailer in 2016. She mentions trying to gain access to the Gary database to search for it, Gari, and her notes wonder what the symbols mean or what locations they represent. And it becomes very clear that she did not live long enough to find out. But that's what you find.
I would know about the Gary database, right?
I would say so, yeah. That is the Gang Graffiti Automatic Recognition and Interpretation, which is funded by the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, if do I have access to it, or do I have to get clearance?
You could get access if you don't. You probably wouldn't have it already because it is a Homeland Security database, vice a Department of Justice or FBI database. But with your skills, that would not be a problem.
Then yeah, I'm going to start looking it up because we've seen the red brain motif before on the drawn on the church flyers, right?
Yep.
So I'll start digging into that. But I'll also just make mention of Magna Mater, yeah, about the connection to the Great Mother and who that could potentially be, and posit that maybe there's a third player in all of this, or maybe that this is just sort of another iteration of the thing that they've all just been worshiping, which could be Boss, which could be something else entirely. Like, the name could just serve whatever purpose in the moment, but it could all just be the same being. Like, we don't know.
Yeah, it could be what the cult thought they were reaching out to when Boss responded instead.
Yeah.
I mean, the Baba Yaga certainly had some characteristics of a fertility goddess.
In the most twisted sense, yes.
So what would you like me to roll for the check on the Gary database?
Nothing. You're easily able to get in, and with the skills that you have, at the percentages that you have them, you find that the red brain graffiti specifically gets no hits in Hendry County, but moving one tab over and searching the image among unidentified tags brings up a number of similar images noted by gang task forces in Miami. It appears that one click was too many for the original investigators. The red brain graffiti specifically was found near St. Laurence Church, located between the West Flagler and Flagami districts of Miami. And with your skill in SIGINT, you soon begin to suspect that each symbol may actually be a graphic representation of a real-world landmark or object.
Interesting.
So how many symbols are there?
Well, there's the red brain that you've seen before, and that was in Nika Chilikov's thesis. as well as some of the other images in that thesis and on the flyer you obtained from El Gable.
Okay. And so Adrian thinks that each of these symbols represents a physical place.
With his skill in cryptography and signals intelligence, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to look up then, because the cross with the grill over it, that was tied to a certain saint, right?
St. Laurence.
Right. But the cross with the grill on it was from the flyer. It wasn't drawn there by the kids, right?
I thought they drew the grill on there.
No, that was part of the original flyer.
But the pole with the horns, I mean, there are several.
So, okay, we've got what's either could be horns or could be like an upside down crescent moon, and then the alligators. That could be, I mean, could the alligators be tied to like Sobek or something like that? Because, I mean, when we were looking up Bast, wasn't Sobek like an associate of hers or like a...
I mean, they're in the same pantheon.
Yeah.
With you staying up, Adrian, to look into these symbols and whether they are in fact connected to these locations, go ahead and make an N times 5 roll.
Oof.
With a 91 out of 80. Too tired at this point. You can try again another time, but...
And I think that, like, because we're sort of doing an all-nighter, like, his sort of, like, professional facade is starting to drop, and he's getting into that kind of, like, highly irritated state. And also he's, like, running on energy drink caffeine. So he just sort of, like, at one point just sort of says, fuck! And, like, slams his laptop in frustration.
I think Leah visibly, like, jumps when he does that. Like, looks at him going, like, what?
There's just too many pieces. Like, there's so many theories that like, I could think of, and none of them are panning out, and everything I think should fit together doesn't fit together. This is stupid.
Let me take a look at that. Maybe you're overthinking it.
No. Just go read something or something. God.
I think Sarah's just sitting on the bed with like her head in her hands, like listening, but she's so fucking tired. She's awake, but she's barely holding on. She doesn't have the energy to delegate or get between them right now.
Can others of us make an N times 5 check, or we don't have access to the materials?
Yeah, you can go ahead and give it a shot.
I don't think Barry's going to do very well, but there's a chance. A 24 out of 40.
Wow.
I love the delicious irony of Bear getting it after Adrian's freaked out.
Oh yeah, and Sonia with a 31 out of 85.
Leia is also looking over the shoulder.
First, how is Sarah reacting to all this information in this journal?
I think so much of it is she's like, I know what that means. I recognize that moment. I know what that's referring to. And like that combined with like her complete lack of sleep and kind of already having that obsession with what could I have done differently 15 years ago. Yeah, she's like sitting on the bed nearby listening, but like also kind of emotionally just checked out right now, head in her hands, just kind of like, yeah, like I'm not even going to roll for that. She's struggling a little bit, I think, to not necessarily process it, but like what to do with it. She can't get past like the obsession part of like, I should have done something differently and maybe this could have, like, she can't get past that in order to move forward with next steps right now.
So, with Bear and Leia succeeding on their N times 5 rolls, the first thing you find is the 2 alligators is actually a giant sculpture built over Interstate 75 on the way west out of Miami. It was a financial boondoggle in an attempt to expand tourism into more rural areas by promoting I-75 as Alligator Alley. The pole with horns is a giant sign on Alligator Alley, advertising a steakhouse. It stands outside the Miccosukee Service Plaza, the gas station at the intersection of I-75 and West State Road 84. It's the last good place to stop for gas in the Western Drive across the state. The moon in the drawing of the tree and stars is in the same phase as it currently is right now.
This was literally directions and instructions on where and when to meet.
Wait, what?
You don't see it.
Yeah, look at those alligators right there. Ain't those some statues that they got on the highway? Yeah. And Bear will go to his phone and pull up a picture off of Google Images of the alligator statues.
Leah's looking up the gas station and showing, and then today's it's currently a crescent moon, a waning crescent.
Adrian is kind of incredulous about the whole thing, knowing that he was overcomplicating his line of thinking with all this mythology stuff, and then Bear, of all people, coming in with the clutch. And then Leia's follow-up about the moon, though. I think he shudders a bit, and he says, wait, you guys don't think it's a little alarming that we're figuring out that this is the phase of the moon, that what these symbols mean on the phase of the moon that's currently in the air right now, that's in the sky?
Oh no, this is really fucked up.
I mean, I think the question is, do we need to get out there tonight?
Are we even able to? Are we any of it? How long is the crescent moon going to be in this phase?
Until the 9th.
Till the 9th. We have...
It is September 4th, 2016, and the current phase of the moon, it is a waxing crescent.
Ah, I see. So, I don't know if we can go tonight, especially with how everybody's... I don't think we can go when we're mentally impaired. If we go when we're not at our sharpest, we're going to probably just be prey for Tom Perez.
You don't think so that we're finding this now when it's we're supposed to be there?
No, I think that's exactly how this plan was planned out. I think this is exactly the choices it wants us to make.
So we don't go. What happens?
Tom Perez finds us and kills us off. Because we are either hunting him or being hunted. There is no middle choice.
So 2 things. One, you have a general idea of where to go, but there's still no specificity on where exactly. So you could go to Miami, but there's still no... You probably need more information to figure out where exactly it is you're supposed to be. Second, Adrian, with you looking at this, hearing this, making this realization, and then seeing the connections that Leah and Bear were able to make, go ahead and make an occult roll. 93 out of 48. Yeah, unfortunately. Still not making those connections.
Yeah, he's just... His head's in a million different spaces right now. It's tough.
Leia's gonna say, I think we need time, 1, to digest what we all heard, and 2, to not be sleep deprived and stupid with lack of it.
So then we go in the morning then, or afternoon if we sleep in, yeah.
Whenever we wake up.
Well, we can scout out these places. They're on Alligator Alley. We have to drive there anyway.
Yeah, but if we're driving sleep impaired, we might as well be causing a car accident in advance.
And Adrian almost sheepishly looks up to Bear and says, does it say anything about what kind of area Alligator Alley is? What types frequent it? I mean, I imagine if these kids were there, probably a little sketchy, right?
It's a highway that crosses the Everglades. Lots of driving, not a lot of people except on the highway itself. Stops along the way, and then just swamp as far as the eye can see. Good place for an ambush.
Imagine there's probably lots of gators there too, right? Alligator Alley and all.
Yeah, I mean, in the swamp. I mean, I think that this is, we should probably get some rest. I mean, judging from the stars and everything, we're we're supposed to go there at night. I think when Bear says we're supposed to go there at night, he sort of stops and seems a little bit confused by that. Wait a second.
But
do you think this message was meant for one of the kids, or you think it was meant for us?
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that we've gotten direct messages. You know, as wild as it is to even say out loud, I think that there is a good chance that whoever wrote this or drew these, they've got a lock on something, and they were able to, I don't know, plan this out. If this is for us, they know our every move. I almost feel like it doesn't matter if we leave tonight or if we even try not to go, we'll end up there or something. I don't know. I just don't feel like we've got control over anything anymore. If we ever had any control, that is.
That's the question. Were we just destined to get to this place? Even all those years ago?
I can't get my head around that, but I think we should just go there tomorrow after we get some rest.
What do you think, Sarah?
She kind of looks over, realizing that she has been checked out for a hot minute, and rubs her face and sits up. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
So if we go in the afternoon and we talk to the folks at St. Laurence, and we can go back and check out that steakhouse, that statue.
Yeah. Do we think there's some kind of order to these? Like, is it like a scavenger hunt or something? Like we're supposed to follow it in a certain pattern or order?
I think whatever comes first will come first. Because I think whatever choice we make, whichever place we go first, I think we'll find a way that it all leads to where we need to go.
Adrian just buries his face in his hands, just trying to rub away the exhaustion that's coming over him. Just get some sleep then, right?
Oh, don't you start. Now you got me starting. Ugh. Yeah, sleep sounds good. Sleep, I think, for everybody.
Well, with everyone going to bed, go ahead and roll 1d6.
Do I need to roll to see if I'm able to sleep again?
I'll get to you in just a sec.
Oh, no. Should have just rolled.
So, Leah, you regain 3 willpower. Adrian, you regain 3. And Bear, you regain 5. For you, Sarah, since I am nothing if not benevolent, I will say eventually, because you're going on night 3 with no sleep.
Yeah.
Your body just gives out. And you pass out. It is not a restful sleep. But go ahead and roll 1d4.
2.
You regain that much willpower. And you will not suffer the penalty from exhaustion.
Okay, I'll take it.
So your willpower is probably still a little low.
Yeah, I'm back to where I was the day before. So it's like I got at least one decent night.
Excellent. So, with that, do we make our way to Miami?
Yeah, I think the next day, right? Early afternoon.
Yeah, so you probably went to bed at around, I want to say 4 or 5 a.m. So you're probably up about 1:30. And it's about a 2.5 hour drive to Miami. So you're probably getting there close to 3, if not a little after. What's our first destination?
Well, do we want to go to, like, work from the top down on the posters and just be like, let's go to the alligator statue first and then, or do we want to just go straight to St. Lawrence's?
I got the impression that the alligator that as you leave Miami, the alligator statues are first and then the horns.
That is correct.
So maybe we drive all the way to St. Lawrence's and work our way back.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, works for me.
All right.
With your 2.5 hour drive ahead of you, You make your way east and south into the city of Miami, eventually arriving at St. Laurence Church. When you pull up, you see the church. It greets parishioners with this large sign announcing its name, atop which is a golden cross lashed to the gridiron representing St. Lawrence's fiery martyrdom. A giant boxy modern addition serves as what appears to be the homeless shelter where the church's old graveyard once stood. This barracks area is bordered by picnic tables where you can see homeless residents eating outside, despite the deafening cacophony of planes flying overhead from the airport. But you pull up, then you park in the parking lot. Do we head inside?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll jump out and head inside, look for a pastor or somebody who looks like they're in charge.
As you get out of the car, begin making your way through the parking lot, up towards the church, you notice a greyhound, a dog, crossing a busy street, narrowly avoiding traffic as it runs toward you all. In its jaws writhes a colorful snake latched onto its tongue, but the greyhound bizarrely doesn't seem to notice.
It's on its tongue?
Yeah, the snake is latched to the dog's tongue.
The dog isn't biting it, it's biting the dog.
Yep.
Jesus. Okay. Okay.
Do you all let it get close?
Does the snake look like it's a poisonous snake?
Leah, you have biology, right?
I do.
Go and make a biology roll.
That's a 50 out of 60.
With a 50 out of 60, you recognize the eastern coral snake, one of the deadliest snakes in the area.
Absolutely not letting it get close.
Oh, that is venomous as shit.
The dog begins wildly thrashing its head, tearing the snake in its jaws to pieces. Then, with a whine, it collapses to the pavement. It begins seizing as the neurotoxin from this snake courses through its face and neck, its eyes deflated and running out from multiple snake bites, and before a minute has passed, it is dead.
Adrian has reached into underneath his jacket to almost pull out his gun, but when he sees the thing thrashing and no longer aggressively trying to catch up with us, he'll relax.
There is a collar.
Snake is dead, right?
The snake is in pieces.
Okay. I'll very gingerly get the collar then.
The collar reads, "Thanks, Obama," and has a series of phone numbers on it.
I call one of the numbers.
Do any of these phone numbers look like they belong to Eckstein?
No.
Okay.
You call the numbers, Sarah?
Yeah, I'll dial one up.
You find that this greyhound was a champion racing dog that escaped from the track that morning. It placed second in the 2015 Champion Stakes in London and was being kept at the track for breeding. You all just watched $50,000 worth of racing dog die.
Damn.
At this commotion, and you all standing around this now deceased dog and these pieces of eastern coral snake, you become aware that the unhoused individuals behind you that had been eating at the picnic tables have all kind of kept their distance but are watching with interest. And a man wearing the black shirt, pants, and white collar of a priest, probably about 40 years old, tanned and a little frayed from spending a great deal of time outdoors, steps out from inside the church. What happened here?
This dog just got attacked by a snake. It's dead.
Oh my God. That is awful. Have you all, has anybody called animal control?
No, I called the numbers on the collar to let them know, but no, I haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, okay. I will, I'll call them. You don't worry.
We'll take care of it, sir. Are you the minister here?
Yes, I'm Father Robledo.
If you don't mind, actually, we had a few questions for you regarding some individuals who may have stayed with you at the church here some time ago.
Okay, and I apologize, but may I ask who you are?
I'm Agent Johnson. These are my colleagues with the FBI.
FBI?
Perhaps we can go inside and talk about this, perhaps in your office.
Of course. Please, come inside.
And Adrian will fire a quick look back at Sarah like, oh no, what have I done?
She gives you like a little thumbs up.
But then he'll turn back and he'll just follow the father into the church.
Yeah, and he'll gesture for all of you to follow him. And as he leads you inside, down through the church itself, back towards an office.
Can we just do an alertness check before we go inside to see if there's anyone watching us other than the homeless people?
Sure, go for it.
Or if any of the homeless people look suspicious.
That too. That's a 1 out of 61.
Nothing unusual.
Sadness, that's such a waste.
But at least you can be confident about it.
Yeah, that's true, but holy shit.
As he leads you through this church back towards presumably his office, he looks back at you all and says, Can I get you anything? Water, iced tea, something to drink?
Water for me would be great. Thank you.
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, I gotta stay hydrated. Thank you.
Nothing for me, thank you though.
He'll go to one of the volunteers that's working inside and whisper to them, cast a look over at you. And he's not trying to be surreptitious. You can hear him say, Can you bring us some waters, please? And then he directs her to contact animal control for the now deceased dog outside, very close to church grounds, before leading you the rest of the way to his office. Please, have a seat. And he'll take a seat behind his own desk.
Adrian will sit.
Yeah, Bear will too.
Sarah's like watching Adrian to see if he's going to take lead on this since he seemed so confident.
So I'm happy to help. What can I do for you all? I do have to admit it's a little unusual for the FBI to be here. I'm used to dealing with local law enforcement, but I have to say my experience with federal law enforcement is a bit more limited.
That's okay. Everyone has their first time, right? What I mean is there were, and he starts to kind of rifle through, tries to find some printouts of L and the others, but he'll fumble through and sort of finally pull them out. Say, we had some suspects in a series of violent offenses who we believe either stayed here or frequented the area. I'm just wanting to know maybe if you'd ever had any encounters with them, and if so, if you'd ever talked to them. And he'll pass over images of Al Gable and Thomas and the others.
First, he looks at the photos of Elle, Samuel, and Jennifer Wills, and he kind of sets them aside. He said, I do recognize these three. Oh my goodness, it's been years. Last time I saw any of them was in 2011. It's when they stayed here last. They weren't exactly children then. They were all around, I want to say 14 or 15, but they never spoke, but they were so angry, so violent. It was strange. They terrified the other children, but they also, in some way, inspired them.
Inspired them?
There's a whole complex local mythology surrounding these children and others like them, and it's propagated throughout the community here.
Could you enlighten us? You seem to deal with a pretty straightforward popular mythology with being a priest and all, but clearly this mythology that these teenagers were propagating seems to have left some impression on you. Do you remember any details about them?
They've mentioned aspects of it over time, and I've picked up a little here and there. The children, as you can understand, are not always willing to speak with adults, those who do speak. But they've mentioned the hungry mother, red-minded men, quiet children, and then silent slaves. It's very convoluted. I've found that the local homeless, they tend to develop this theology that's very unique to their hardships and experiences on the streets. I feel like it provides as much comfort to their suffering as traditional Catholicism would. And they believe in this hungry mother far more than any Christian God. But from what I recall, this hungry mother concept tends to be held by the youngest members of the population here. They like to say that the world outside the shelter belongs to the hungry mother. Sometimes this is a monster that personifies their most primal fears, a toothy, tentacled nightmare woman come to consume them. Other times, it's a kind-seeming old woman who lures in victims. When people go missing around here, the children whisper that the hungry mother claimed another one. More often than not, they just use it as this catch-all term for the outside world. You know, the hungry mother stopped my ma from finding a job. The hungry mother spiked the drugs. The hungry mother sent pigs to bust up the camp.
Seems a bit strange, though. I mean, they're in a house of God. I mean, how does it make you feel that they're so invested in this new mythology?
Honestly, whatever brings them comfort in the midst of their suffering is... I just accept it for what it is. I will never force anyone to convert, and whether they do or not does not preclude them from needing help. And as long as they abide by the rules here and treat one another with respect, treat myself and my staff with respect, they are free to stay as long as they need to, regardless of their beliefs. In fact, that's why I had to eject these three that you're asking about.
They didn't respect you or the staff. They were violent.
Unfortunately, yes. This one, Elle, she stabbed a younger child, sending them to the hospital. This one, and he points at a photograph of Thomas Perez. He arrived a week or so ago. No one knows his name. A few of our younger homeless individuals were sort of attracted to him, and within a couple of days, he and they were gone. I don't know. I honestly don't know where he's been since then. He hasn't returned.
And he left with other children?
He did. Yes.
We have a picture of Conrad as well.
There's one child with them, with the original three. Philip. He fought with them often because he preferred to speak, and he often spoke for them. In fact, Philip is the one who most of these local mythological tales originated from. I mean, for lack of a better term, as much as I might dislike saying it, he was their priest. He left with them when I ejected them from the property. I've seen him a couple of times over the years since. I've tried to warn them away from the church. They call him Philly Phil now.
When was the last time you saw him?
Oh, it's been months at this point.
But within this year?
Yeah, yes.
How well do you know the folks who stay here? Do maybe any of them know where we could find Phil?
Well, I suspect he's in the house across the street.
Oh. What makes you think that?
It's abandoned. It's been a known, I suppose you could say, hotspot for local squatters, folks who either don't want to stay here or can no longer stay here. Philly Phil, is a drug dealer, and drugs are known to flow out of that residence in particular. There's a number of young men and women who stay at that house, and they don't associate with the church at all. They've been violent toward residents, and as I said, my suspicion is they're bringing even more drugs into this neighborhood and perpetuating the problem even more.
One last question for me, at least. Perhaps my colleagues might have some for you, but we had noticed some interesting graffiti, and perhaps maybe you could point us to who the artist behind them is. Strange, I guess you could call them red brains.
Oh, yeah, it's the red-minded men that they like to call them. I think it represents that. The violent gang task force was here. They were convinced that the Zoe Pound gang was expanding into the community through my church because of this graffiti. They're convinced it's gang-related, but it most certainly is not.
And this gang and the red-minded men are affiliated, or are they completely separate?
No, it's separate. As I said, I don't believe it's gang-related in the slightest. Of course, no offense, local police tend to make everything involving graffiti these days gang-related.
No offense taken. We're not local PD, so. Well, I mean, that's it for me, unless anyone else had anything else they wanted to ask. But this has been very illuminating. Nothing else.
I just have one more question. If we were to go to that house across the street looking for Philly Phil, would you recommend we don't? Is there anything you would warn us about before we go?
I would be careful. Any number of violent, aggressive members of the unhoused community here could be inside. I mean, as you no doubt know, the most persistent drug users tend to be irrational when confronted with those who will keep them from their next fix.
Sorry, have they been known to keep any animals?
Not that I've seen, no.
All right.
You don't happen to have any personal effects left behind from any of the aforementioned children, do you? Or teenagers?
I do not. They didn't have much when they arrived, and they had even less when they left.
Well, we appreciate your cooperation, and thank you for your assistance here. If you do happen to see anything, perhaps Agent Adams, you can give a contact number. He sort of like raises his eyebrows as if to let you know, like, your burner, in case you see anything or hear from anybody.
Yeah, of course. And I'll hand out a card with my burner number on there.
Thank you. And please feel free to speak to my staff if you need to. I'll make them available to you. They may be able to answer more questions should you have them. They tend to hear more from their work with the community.
Can I do a human check on him real quick?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. I just want to see if there's anything that I feel like he's hiding, either about the kids or about himself, the nature of the church. I don't know. Just, she's paranoid.
Go for it.
Success. 34 out of 92.
Yeah, no signs of deception that you can tell. None of the typical body language you associate with somebody who's lying or trying to keep track of a lie. He seems candid and honest.
Okay, cool.
If we wanted to find out more about this local mother, is there somebody who we could ask?
Yeah, currently Guadalupe Chavez, she's working here today. She's a nurse, and Rainier Perry, he's a tutor that works with the children. He's here today as well.
And of course, Philly Phil. He presumably knows the most, given his proselytizing.
That would be my assertion, yes.
Well, you've given us much to think about. Thank you again.
Of course.
Yeah, Adrian will start to get up, unless folks want to stick around and ask more questions.
As you go to leave, the woman that Father Robledo was speaking to earlier opens the door and comes in with a few bottles of water. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that took so long. I had to make a phone call, but here's your waters.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course.
Is this Guadalupe?
It may be.
I'll ask. Father, is this Miss Chavez?
Yes, I'm Guadalupe Chavez. Yes.
Oh. We were wondering if we could ask you about this, and he'll put two fingers up and he'll go, cult that seems to exist amongst the kids around here.
Oh, I don't know if I'd call it a cult. It's a little strong, but
It's a little strong. Yes, thank you. No, we're looking into. Yeah, the father here mentioned some very kind of interesting traditions and mythology. Perhaps you can shed some light on it for us. And Adrian will sort of fire a side eye over at Bear.
Bear gives him a glare back.
Of course. What would you like to know? It's I'm not sure how much Father Robledo told you, but they've mentioned the cornerstone seems to be this hungry mother. There's also the red-minded men, I think they call them. They use this symbol to depict them, I suppose. It's a human skull with red paint streaks as the brain, I suppose. It's supposed to denote an area of danger.
Are the red-minded men related to the hungry mother, like they work for her, or are they her enemies?
I've never been able to figure that out myself. And these folk tales they tell themselves, these red-minded men, they disguise themselves as ordinary people to prey on the homeless, especially homeless children. Cops is a common one. Drug dealers, pimps, anybody who could represent any kind of danger, perceived or otherwise, to, I suppose, their way of life.
It sounds like, to the kids at least, these red-minded men are their enemies in a way.
I'd say that's accurate, yes.
All right.
And Father Robledo speaks up. We've most often seen this painted by some of our residents who are in the midst of a mental breakdown. They tend to conflate the help that we try to provide them here with the same society that has so systemically let them down. This is the aspect of the mythology I most take issue with, because I feel it discourages those most in need of help from seeking it. There's the quiet children as well, right, Father? Yes, that's another aspect. The younger occupants of our shelter, they regard the so-called quiet children as angels that have fallen from heaven. They are only disguised as these ignorant boys and girls so they might slip beneath the gaze of the hungry mother. They refuse to speak because they know that all speech is a lie. Life would be easier if they could escape the love that's been programmed into their souls as they see it, but of course they can't, so they seek to wake people to the dangers of the hungry mother. Probably the most disturbing aspect of it is when a quiet child dies. It is to reveal the truth to humanity through the only language it still knows.
What language is that?
Violence, death. They're apparently serviced or represented by silence slaves who speak on behalf of the quiet children.
They have people that speak for them?
Yes, I believe this Philly Phil was one of them.
Is there any connection with animals involved, any beliefs or anything that you've noticed?
Animals,
Or even not animals directly, but this idea of hunting or predators and prey?
nothing specifically about animals. There is something where they refer to mankind as cattle for the hungry mother. There's this concept, it's only come up sparingly. They call it Sredni Vashtar. It's like a combination of Ragnarok, the Second Coming, the Apocalypse of Revelations. It all revolves around this end goal of informing mankind that they are cattle for the hungry mother. And when that happens, the suffering people and the angels, the quiet children, they'll cry out in a single voice of pain, and Sredni Vashtar will hear and come. A part of that is something they call the speaker.
Do they say who the speaker is? Is it the Great Mother as well, or is it some other?
No. From what I can tell, this speaker and the hungry mother are in direct opposition. It's some kind of messianic figure in this mythology. Unfortunately, the children don't speak much about it.
Sarah was just going to comment that it's a really robust and detailed belief system that's come through here. That doesn't come from nothing. Have you guys seen things beyond just what you've heard? Have you actually seen things?
No, I haven't. And Guadalupe shakes her head as well. We've never seen anything that would lend any credence or truth to this. This does tend to happen among these homeless populations. They seek to make sense of their pain, of their suffering, of everything they've been through, and they tend to organize these very, as you said, complex mythologies and explanations to try to make sense of it. I mean, for example, there was, I've heard children talk about Bloody Mary, La Llorona, the crying woman. I've heard them talk about the Blue Lady.
Sure, but a lot of those, I guess, those aren't born from a handful of kids in a small community. Those have been around. You know what I mean? Like,
There's cultural significance. There's history to someone like La Llorona. Like that's a very old myth. Same with Bloody Mary. Even someone like Baba Yaga.
Folk tales that tend to spiral out of control and take on a life of their own, yeah. I wish I could explain it.
You've been a great help so far in helping us to understand this. It's, I'm sure, obviously not easy to parse out, given, well, how strange it all must sound, especially given the fact that you're Catholics.
Father Robledo kind of smiles slightly and says, "Do I detect a hint of derision, Agent Johnson?"
No. I just meant you have your own mythology, and so I'm not a Catholic myself, but I feel like if I had my own mythology and hearing someone else's mythology, it might sound strange. Adrian sort of starts to kind of like dart his eyes away, looking to like Sarah and looking to Dr. Caron to see if they can say something to get him out of this.
nope.
No derision at all. I just thought it was interesting.
Bear's just staring daggers at Adrian right now.
I find that the belief systems that tend to emerge from the most horrific of circumstances tend to be the most interesting. And I think that is no different here.
Well, I mean, you've given us a lot to think about, but perhaps we should see what we can find next door. She kind of looks at the others.
Yeah.
Yes. I think you both have been very helpful. Thank you again.
Of course. Good luck, and please let us know if there's anything else we can do.
And yeah, likewise, if you see or hear any updates, please feel free to reach out to us.
I shall. Thank you. And again, please be safe.
Shall we? And Adrian will start to make his way out of the office.
Yeah, heading out as well. As we go, though, I do want to just like make a point of being alert to see if there's anything in the church on the way out that grabs my attention.
I won't even make you roll with your alertness score. Nothing stands out except for the children among this group watching you warily as you leave.
Okay.
Where to next?
Across the street?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you all drive over, walk over?
I'd be interested to walk over, as it's just across the street. But I want to know though, has the dog or the mangled snake been taken care of yet, or?
This is Miami. Not yet.
Okay, but nothing strange has happened to them since they've died. They just sort of are dead.
No, and from what it looks like, one of the volunteers at the church has draped a blanket over the corpse to keep it from view.
All right. Okay. Just make a mental note of it and keep walking.
You cross the street, and the interior of this desolate, split-level home is visible even from the street itself. The boarded-up doors lie burst open, hacked down. You can see mold-carpeted floor inside, holding the remains of camping equipment, broken needles, and trash. You see no predators lurking around this house, and in fact, no animals at all. There is one mangy but dangerous-looking stray dog that trots near the house, almost as if familiar with it. Stops, sniffs the air a few times, lets out a whine, and runs away. But no other activity that you can see from out here.
Okay. Keeping alert just in case that turns into something.
Do we want to just go straight in the front door or look around the back, or?
I guess maybe do a quick perimeter check just in case.
Sure.
I'd walk around it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing outside save for trash and aggressively overgrown lawn with weeds and detritus and trash as far as the eye can see. But nothing else that stands out.
Do we see good alternate entrances and exits, or?
I mean, there's holes in the walls. The doors are wide open.
Okay.
Glass has been, like, the windows have been shattered out. It is wide open to the elements.
I think it still makes sense to go in the front door, but
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to necessarily spook Billy Phil if he's inside. So that seems the best way to not do that. I think I will. Her gun isn't out, but like, she's ready if something goes wrong.
When you step inside, the air reeks of moldy, soaked garbage, of human waste, and red spray paint that has been used to tag the filthy yellow wallpaper that bubbles off the walls in the swamp's humidity. And you see the symbols then, repeating across the walls over and over again in the same uniform order. At the far right, a pair of alligators on hind legs and baring jaws at each other in a sort of arch, a shape like a car beneath them. Left of the alligators, a pole with a pair of bull horns atop it. The half circle of the sun radiating lines of light sets behind the pole. To the left of the pole, a picture of the moon over a nondescript line of horizon. Stars dot the background in a uniform pattern across all instances of the image. A dead tree in a distinctive shape, empty limbs curling, is silhouetted in the foreground against the moon. Beneath the moon itself, a campfire seen through a thicket of skinny trees, a ring of stick figures holding hands around it. Another design is here and there not part of the overall pattern. A small childlike figure with red hands stands triumphant over larger adult victims, all lying in blood. 4 of them. The head of each victim has a red splotch that might represent the brain. Other children and small predatory animals watch in a crowd. And it's then that you hear the voice. A whisper. No source, but seems to come from the walls themselves. It speaks in a harsh rasp, and a clipped, clumsy diction of a woman who has hardly ever spoken at all. She hungered, She Shredni Vashtar, she eat it all, but eat you most. Ate with and on forever on, you stink of outside. And that is where we will end tonight's session.
Ooh.
Oh.
Spooky.
Thank you for listening to Delta Green, God's Teeth, part of the Black Project Gaming podcast. If you like what you heard, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or a comment on YouTube. Be sure to visit blackprojectgaming.com for previous and future Delta Green episodes. If you'd like updates on all future releases, please follow us on Blue Sky or Facebook. Until next time, I'm Vince, your host and handler, with Cami as FBI Special Agent Sarah Hart, Doug as Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent Gerrald Bear Swenson, Jack as Special Agent Adrian Selivanov with the FBI's Computer Analysis Response Team, and Sonia as Dr. Leah Caron with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Thank you again, and remember, we'll be seeing you.